Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video, we are talking about another variety of Crassula called as Crassula alpestris. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct. I'll put the name on the screen. Now guys, I'm putting this under difficult because for a lot of beginners, this is going to be a very difficult plant to grow. Basically, it is not very difficult, but yes, for beginners or if you're just starting off with succulents, it is going to be a little difficult plant. One, it gets damaged in transit. A lot of times you might not receive this plant in one piece. A lot of these will fall apart because they have a very delicate stem. Is not very stiff, it's very soft, so usually during the postage and transit they tend to break into pieces, and then the issue is watering. Now you have to ensure it belongs to the variety of Crassula, likes the soil to be very slight moist, not soggy wet soil. When your soil is 90% dry, you can go ahead and water it. Right now the colors are green, but very soon it is going to get into its dormant season, which is the summer season. It will get more red in color. Now it is often confused with other Crassulas like red pogda, but this is not red pogda. This is a different variety. This does not grow really huge. This is usually the size of the succulent. As you can see, this is the mature plant. It starts putting out a lot of offsets like these. It will keep growing. Again, if you want to propagate this, you will have to cut it. Let me check if I can show it to you. As you can see, just like the baby necklace, the Crassula baby necklace, if you have seen that video, you will find these small gaps in between the stem. You'll have to cut it off and then you can propagate this. Again, I would only advise you to go with a stem cutting because leaf propagation, first of all, the plant itself is very difficult to maintain. Leaf propagation is going to be another level of intense level. So you can go with a stem cutting. Ideally, when you get it in your transit, if it's all fallen apart, just put the roots and the stem into the soil. Do not water the same day. Wait for some time. Wait at least for 2 or 3 days before you start watering it. The best thing what I would advise is for this plant, go for bottom watering initially if you're not very comfortable with top watering, because you do not want to drop any water in between these leaves over here. The water will get collected and that can lead to rot. If you're going to overwater it, like if you're going to water it without letting the soil dry, then it is definitely going to get rotted. Basically, it's a very, in other words, I would say it's a very flimsy kind of a succulent. It's not a very stiff succulent which we have, like we have our Crassula Campfire, red pogda. These have very stiff leaves. The leaves are very thick, but these have a very soft leaves. The leaves are very soft. Let me show it to you. As you can see, the leaves are very soft compared to the other varieties of Crassula, so you have to be extremely careful. The soil, I use the same soil what I use for my other succulents, loose, porous and well draining. You can also add a layer of regular garden soil after filtering it so that it can reduce the rate of evaporation, because for me over here the rate of evaporation is quite high. My soil tends to dry faster, so I'm using a plastic container so that it can retain very minimum moisture so that the succulent can have a quick drink whenever the soil tends to dry out. Do not introduce it to morning direct sunlight or do not keep it in afternoon direct sunlight. This plant does grow in afternoon direct sunlight in nature, but over here we are just freshly getting them. They are green in color. When they are green in color, don't expose them to direct sunlight, otherwise the leaves will get burnt. Do a slow acclimation to morning direct sunlight. Not everyone has a pleasant afternoon sunlight. Like for me, the afternoon sunlight is crazy warm. I cannot put this out in afternoon sunlight. The leaves will definitely get burnt, so I keep them in either indirect morning sunlight, indirect bright light or morning direct sunlight. Even if you're putting it out in morning direct sunlight, ensure you acclimate it completely and then put it out in morning direct sunlight. The red colors will appear sooner or later. Do not keep it indoor unless you have a good quality of grow light, because it will start to stretch. Right now you can see it's very compact. If it does not get enough light, there will be a lot of gaps in between, and trust me, it looks very bad when there is a lot of gap in between the leaves. This succulent is known for this compactness. That's why the succulent has this amazing beauty when the leaves are compact. When the leaves start to stretch or when there is gap in between the leaves, the succulent does not look that pretty. So ensure that you give it a good amount of light. Keep it in indirect bright light. If you're scared of burning your succulent, the only issue is the colors won't come up, but it's absolutely fine. At least you're gonna have your succulent safe without getting burnt. Talking about dormancy, it is a variety of Crassula. It will go dormant during the summers. Winter was its growing period. I would advise, do not add a lot of fertilizers. Try to keep the soil as nutrient lean as you can. Less organic, the much better. If you're going to add too much of organic matter into the soil, it will invite pests, bugs, mealybugs, fungus, mold, because they cannot absorb a lot of nutrients from the soil. They are very slow growing plants. Apart from that, if you tend to see blooms, they tend to bloom a lot. If you tend to see blooms, if they are no use to you, just go ahead and cut off the bloom stalk. But if you are a beginner, I would just say wait for some time. Rather than buying this variety, go for a Crassula Red Pogda. Go for Crassula Campfire. Crassula Red Pogda and Crassula Campfire are more hardy and they tend to work out really well with a lot of beginners. But this variety is slightly delicate, so you need to be little careful, especially during the initial stage when you receive this plant. The initial stage is the most difficult part for the plant to get adjusted, so you have to be extremely careful. If you belong to a coastal area, a place wherein there is a lot of humidity, then you have to be slightly careful. Though it will do quite well in your environment, but you have to ensure that you check on your watering, because you already have a lot of moisture, a lot of humidity in the air, so you do not want to overwater it. The succulent also tends to absorb water from the moisture, so you already have a very humid environment, and then if you're going to water it too much, obviously the succulent will get rotted. So this is all about it. If you are a beginner, I would just say wait for some time. Go for the other varieties of Crassula. They are much more hardy and much more strong compared to this variety. But if you already have a good experience with growing succulents, then this is one of the variety that you can definitely add in your collection. It's very compact, very small growing, does not require a lot of space, and an absolutely beautiful succulent, especially when it starts getting the color red. You can check the images on Google. It's an absolutely beautiful succulent. Just because I have said that do not overwater it, that does not mean that you're going to underwater this succulent excessively, because if you're going to underwater this succulent, the succulent will start to dry up, and it usually starts drying up exactly where you have these stems. It starts drying up right over here, the base area. It will start getting dried up, so you do not want to get into it, because once it gets dried up, it tends to look a little bad. So you need to have a proper watering schedule. You need to have that balance, not overwatering it and not underwatering it too much. This is the area where it usually starts to get dry, just like how we have our baby's necklace, Crassula baby's necklace. That one also tends to dry in between, so it will start drying in between in case if it doesn't get the right amount of water. So you need to have that proper balance when it comes to watering. So basically you just need to maintain a proper balance. This is the reason why I have put it in difficult, because as a beginner it's going to be very difficult for you to grow, because I have seen a lot of people do message me with this variety, and a lot of them have been in a really bad condition. So I just wanted to quickly make a video on this and advise you guys to be careful, especially when you're a beginner. I'm not saying that you cannot grow succulents, but at times experience matters a lot, and you do not want to waste your money by buying this succulent and then killing it off. So you have to be little careful when it comes to your watering. If you have a proper experience with watering, then this plant will definitely thrive in your garden and with your guidance. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.